Please be seated. For this, I will unmask myself. So the psalmist tells us we can never ransom ourselves or deliver to God the price of our life. For the ransom of our life is so great that we should never have enough to pay it. Reed asked me to come and be with you this morning on this glorious day to talk about giving. But what I'm really interested in talking about, with his blessing, is receiving. Giving and receiving are two sides of the same coin, but a Christian theology or an ecological understanding tells us that there is no giving without first receiving. We can only give of what we have. We cannot give of what we do not have. So I want to explore receiving in three kind of illustrations. Those are: one, self; two, earth, of course, I have to speak about that; and three is love. These three ways in which we receive, and reflect on these together. So I want to begin with ourself. I invite you to turn to the boundary that defines you, your skin. So I invite you to take a finger and touch your own skin, and just notice the miracle of this most expansive of all the human organs that contains us and distinguishes us from what distinguishes me from what's not me. It's done so much of that through our skin. Held in that skin, of course, is this complex set of other pieces of our bodies. Using just a finger for my example. So here's my skin. Within that, there are nerves and tendons and muscle and ligaments and bone and blood and everything else that those contain. This miracle that all of that is held together within this strange thing that holds us and helps us know, this is Steve, that's Reed. Of course, there's the mind that we have inside us and the heart, both the physical and kind of the metaphorical heart, all these components of ourself. We receive. Leaving aside what surgeons might do to replace a knee or a heart valve or anything else like that, thanks be to God, thanks be to all of those miracles. We just have the body, the self that we have. It's just what we get. And we do the best we can with whatever that is. We offer it back out to the world. We offer ourselves back out to the world through this body. It is an extraordinary gift. Without it, it's trivial to say, but also true, we would not exist. So to celebrate the receiving of that gift, I invite you to take one deep breath. Just breathe in the receipt of that gift, the presence of yourself in this space. Even larger than the self, of course, is this earth that we all share. So I invite you to take this skin that you have and the nerves, the nerve endings in it, the ability to touch, and reach out and touch this box that you're sitting in. And for those of you who are viewing from elsewhere, whatever it is that holds you and supports you. Can anybody tell me what kind of wood these pews are made of? I don't know. I'm curious. Before they were pews, they were boards. Before they were boards, these were trees, living beings rooted in the earth, themselves a self contained in a tree. It's the bark that distinguishes that organism from all other organisms. But of course, their roots go into the earth. Through their roots, there's a system of interaction with all the other forms of life that exist underground, hidden out of our sight. Their leaves interact with the atmosphere, taking in and releasing gases, and serve as the solar panels, the photosynthetic phenomena that enable energy streaming from the sun to come in and be transformed miraculously into the wood of those trees. This happens on an unfathomable scale around this entire planet in every instant. It is truly a miracle. We take it for granted, of course, just the way we take ourselves for granted. Because if we spent all of our time reflecting on this miracle, we'd never have enough time to do anything else, for the price of this is so great, we could never pay it. But here we live every day. We take not necessarily those trees, but other forms of living beings. We take those into our bodies. I am just recalling, I think, that the last time I was here, I preached about carrots. So here I am again. Just to take an example, we take carrots into our body, and those carrots disaggregate and become us. I mean, really, it's so commonplace we don't think about it. But what an extraordinary gift. Sunlight has come down into the tree to make these pews, into the carrot to make food that we feast on. We can never pay back all that we have received in this gift of the earth that provides such nourishment. So in celebration, in recognition of the receipt of that gift, I invite you to take another deep breath in, acknowledging in gratitude the gift that we have received of this earth. So the third thing, it's all well and good to have a collection of selves here sitting in boxes made of trees. And that's fine. I mean, it's wonderful. But what is it truly that binds a group of people in this place or in the many other places where people gather in this way? It is the miracle of love, which we cannot touch in the same way that we can touch our own skin, or that we can touch a pew or a tree or a rock or the ground. But it's nevertheless the force that animates all the rest of this. We love, Christian teaching says, because we first are loved. It is God's love pouring into the cosmos that creates and animates all things, that enables us to exist, and that fills our hearts with love that in turn we can give it. A baby who is born and does not receive love is not able to pass love on. Perhaps one of the greatest tragedies in the history of humankind are children who are raised without love. Most of us get a mixed bag, pretty good. Thanks be to God, most of us get pretty good, good enough. And through our lifetimes, we, if we're fortunate, then pay attention. Love continues to accrue, and we send it back out. And at its best, that's what a church does, is a place for that giving and receiving of love. So let's take a third deep breath in, acknowledging the receipt of that love, recognizing it within ourselves and giving thanks. So here we are, filled with these things, self, earth, and love. Imagine a river flowing freely. Some of you will particularly appreciate this, and a dam being built, which stops the flow. When we receive and do not give, we are like that dam. To use a harsher word, we are like hoarders. We take it in and don't give it back. Each of these acts of receipt calls us in turn to pass it along, to step into the flow of selves, the flow of earth, of nutrients, of matter, of energy, and the flow of love. We give of what we have received, and we receive so much. A certain amount of what we receive has to be used to keep ourselves going. That's just the way things are. But in fact, there's more to give than we recognize, because we receive so much. So my invitation to you as we go through this, and particularly when we get to the closing part of this, is to reflect on all these things we have received, and to step with your whole self, your whole body, and the fullness of your love, to step into the flow of energy that constitutes all reality, that constitutes all of our interactions, that constitutes our very existence in those cosmos, and to step fully into that as the littlest bit that we can offer back for all we have received. Amen.